Hi, what's up, everybody? It is the Reformed Christian Apologist here, deciding to make a short video before I have to go shave this off and get ready for church tomorrow. A video idea has been popping in my head for a bit, and I wanted to do it based on 4 books that I got. I think are very good introductory books that fellow Christians, especially who are getting into apologetics, can start using. And utilizing because I've looked at some of these and they are very great in how they handle issues as well as introduce what apologetics is and how we are to condone ourselves and to conduct a behavior. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Um, the first one is a book from Greg Kokel called Tactics, also known as A Game Plan for Discussing Your Christian Convictions. Now, this book here is very good because it explains a interesting, sort of evolved form of the presuppositional apologetic method called the Columbo tactic. It is based off of the character Columbo from the show. I forget, maybe it was called Columbo as well. I'm not so sure. But the detective on that show, Detective Columbo, would always uh, get to the bottom of things and show how people were, caught in a trap by asking questions. And question asking was the key in this to point out either inconsistencies or flaws in somebody else's particular worldview. So one part of the first half of the book goes into how to utilize and master this tactic. And then the other is how to then find specific errors and issues in the other person's worldview by being an observer, an examiner, a listener. So it tells you how to master the technique as well as telling you and commanding you that you have to be very careful, very observant, very, be a listener, not just someone who's waiting to speak every now and then. You have to make sure that you're also paying attention to the conversation as well. So this is a very good book to get. It's called Tactics by Greg Kokel. Very good recommendation. Another is a short series of essays. It's called If God Made the Universe, Who Made God? 130 Arguments for the Christian Faith. It is a very good book. It doesn't really say who the editor is, but it does say that it is from the Holman References as far as that department is concerned. And what it is that it's a series of various essays from many different people. And it says right here that many of the essays included in this work were originally published in the Apologetics Study Bible. So if you ever had the Apologetics Study Bible, you may be familiar with some of these arguments that are just more in a reduced format. But you have people, for example, such as Kenneth D. Boa, Lee Strobel, Paul Copan, Gary Habermas, J.P. Moreland, William Lane Craig, William Dembski, Daniel Bach, Norman Geisler, which, funny enough, we're going to get into in a bit on one of his works, Thomas Schreiner. So it's got not just apologists, but it's also got scholars and Christian historians. So this has apologetic introductory issues, apologetics on the existence of God, apologetics on the scriptures, apologetics on theology, science and faith, ethics, heaven, hell, and the spiritual realm, evangelism, cult and world religions. So you got a nice bunch of pages that go over the issues. So I would recommend this book. If God Made the Universe, Then Who Made God? 130 questions for our arguments for the Christian faith. So that'd be a good one to use. The next one is one that I have heard about and been wanting to get my hands on for quite some time, and very fortunate enough to do so. And that is Expository Apologetics by Bodhi Bauckham Jr. And the subtitle to it is Answering Objections with the Power of the Word. And the reason why this is interesting is that it tries to present itself, though it still says it's based also kind of on the presuppositional method, it's still a different kind of apologetic method because in the fact that it doesn't try to use the whole like laws of logic argumentation that you'll usually hear from some of the presuppositionists like Greg Bonson and Cy 10 or any of the Psi 10 clones that are out there, but rather that it's trying to simply, when it mentions presuppositional in its roots, just simply says that it affirms the Word of God as the standard and the foundation on which to utilize your argumentation and of which you're basing most of your arguments from. And so, as a result of that, that causes one to be confident. Whoops, looks like something happened there with the phone going on a battery thing there. Anyways, so it causes a confidence in your argumentation and what you stand for when you put your faith and trust within the Bible to be reliable as your source for argumentation. And so it's a very good book that helps explain what apologetics is, what the expository apologetic method is, and what our behavior should be towards that. And even goes in far as how the early history of apologetics was done, even in things like confessions and creeds and catechisms. So it's a very good book that I would recommend to anybody who's not too, they're not really into whole using, philosophical, logical argumentations like the cosmological argument or any of these others. They're just very new and they're like very wanted to be Bible only. This will be good for those kinds of people that if you want to get them in apologetics, this will be a good start for them that gets them to read something else and help them formulate a method. The next one is a very good book that's in its second edition, and it's called Christian Apologetics by Norman Geisler. Now, Norman Geisler is a very good apologist and theologian. And when normally the one apologetic method book that is out there that's called Christian Apologetics or Introduction to Christian Apologetics is usually the one by Peter Kreeft. But the one thing that I have a problem with it, and a lot of people will not notice it firsthand that are Protestants, is that some of the arguments that are mentioned in there are some also arguments for Catholicism. So it's not necessarily going for the whole thing there. It's mainly trying to defend Catholicism, but it's plastered with the name Christian Apologetics. So the one that would be for Protestants then, that's similar to that one book by Peter Kreeft, would be this one. It's a very good book. What it goes into for it is divided into 3 sections, is that it teaches the methodologies of the utilization of apologetics, which can lead to rationalism, experientialism, evidentialism, and combinationalism, which that's interesting that one of my apologetic methods is in there. And then of course you have the theistic apologetics, in which it goes over basically the different worldviews and how, if they're consistent or not, and offering criticisms. Like it goes over deism, pantheism, polytheism, atheism, and then of course theism. Then of course it goes over 6 chapters, of claims usually made against Christianity and how to answer them. So it helps give, again, not an exhaustive source of questions and answers, but rather an introduction, so that when people look at this and then they start reading the Bible, they too then can start mastering the art of apologetics. So Norman Geisler, Christian Apologetics, 2nd edition. So this book, Expository Apologetics, If God Made the Universe, Who Made God, and Tactics by Greg Copeland. These 4 books will help you in terms of mastering your apologetic method and learning how to deal with some of the criticisms that are raised, and going to master your own unique form of apologetics and how you approach the non-believer, rather they be Christian, the form of liberal Christian that sort of denies essential truths, the Muslim, the Hindu, the Mormon, the Jehovah Witness, the atheist, all these different other religions and sects and views can start getting out there. And like I mentioned before, Preaching Sean, yes, I agree that the Bible is the method, and that's why, again, I mentioned for the 3rd one that's what this book is about. It's teaching people to, because normally in this day and age, people think that apologetics means, oh, I have to learn philosophical reasoning and philosophical arguments to get involved in apologetics. When this book, in fact, proves the opposite, that no, you can, as it says, answer objections with the power of the word and put confidence in the word. So this is a book to help relieve and show that people don't need to be the great philosophical minded thinkers. So it's about putting your trust in the word of God instead. And so that's the one thing I like about this, and why I made sure to include this in the recommendation of books to hand out to people who are wanting to get into apologetics or need to get into it but need a start that helps them there. Because a lot of people that are like William Lane Craig and all them, they're already familiar with the Bible, but also familiar with the philosophical arguments. And for some people who are new and definitely needing to just be in the Bible, that book would help out for that. So, that being said, of course, apologetics should be based on also our understanding of the Bible and having the Bible as a foundation for that. So those would be very good to get, and I would recommend. So hopefully this video was able to help provide the names of some good resources that you can use and start reading and going out for your own to get, because these books, I've looked at them a bit, and I'm currently actually in the very middle of this one for the most part, and it's definitely helping to improve how I engage in apologetics, especially since I started in 2015 compared to now being 2018. And some of these books have helped change my life in terms of how I engage in apologetics and witnessing to people, and to me in the proper way, which starts with the Bible as the foundation and never compromising on that. So that being said, hope this was of good help. Hope to see y'all in the next video, and until then, this has been Reformed Christian Apologist. Have a good day.